Hey guys, how you doing? It's the Do Carpenter. I got over 5 million views on this one project. Now, there's a lot of misconceptions about it. When I started this thing, it was completely experimental. And so I'm going to go through the top 5 things that actually worked well and the top 5 things that didn't work so well. And I actually had to change things around and do them differently for things to go smoothly and to get this project done. If you ever wanted to duplicate a project like that shop I built out behind Grandpa's house, this is a video you are going to want to watch. Thanks, guys.
I'm going to go ahead and give a thumbs up to using sheet metal studs to create the wall panel forms. Now, whether you're going around a window or a door or headers, it allowed me a great deal of flexibility to build the building blocks in whatever configuration I wanted to do. As you can see here, I originally planned on doing the gable in multiple pieces and multiple building blocks. These sheet metal studs can be manipulated into any configuration or any shape that you want, so I was able to go ahead and do them in one-piece forms, and it made it way more simple. From a production standpoint, I actually got to the point where I could measure, stick in my jig the pieces, and fasten them together and complete a form in 8 minutes. And so I was able to do multiple forms in one day. I think we did like 32 of them. And I did it all with the help of a 16-year-old kid. From an engineering standpoint, whether you're building a shop, a shed, or even a tiny home, leaving the sheet metal studs around your aircrete building blocks gives the building a great deal of structural integrity as well. Using even a rudimentary plan, you can go ahead and build the blocks and then they'll just fit together kind of like Lincoln logs. And because they're made of aircrete and they're light, 2 people can put them in place. Okay guys, I tried many things, and thumbs up to using Visqueen as an underlayment for each panel. They're 16 inches wide, just cut 20-inch pieces and then stretch them out because the Visqueen roll comes in 10 by 100 foot pieces. The forms fit right on, and that gives you 2 inches on each side of the panel to roll up the side and just tape it to it. And then once the panel's set up and cured out, it just peels right off and they look great. Here I am peeling the plastic off of a raised garden bed panel, but whether you're building a building or a raised garden bed, it really doesn't matter. The same applies. You just peel it off. Okay guys, I'm going to go ahead and give a big thumbs up to using rabbit wire as reinforcement in the panels. You just cut it to width, cut it to length, and then it just fits right into the panel. And you can cut little pieces of it and use those as wedges to just hold the rabbit wire on one side of the panel. At this point, guys, you only need reinforcement on one side of the panel. When you put the building up and put the stucco on the outside, it'll get reinforcement on the outside. Just as a little tip, I'm going to give a thumbs down to using regular tin snips to cut rabbit wire. Just invest in the double cuts. It makes it so much easier. I am also going to give a thumbs up to taking your mixing receptacle and cutting it down to size. The smaller, the better. Okay, this is a big no-no. I totally abandoned it. Don't use a cement mixer. The only way I got it to work was to throw rocks in with it, and then it was difficult to get consistent panels mixing your slurry in a cement mixer. Of the first 10 panels I made when I started this experiment, I actually had to throw like 5 of them away because they were so light, and it was just hard to get consistency using a cement mixer. Do yourself a favor, just weigh out the ingredients, stick them in there, put the water in, mix up your slurry, and then put the foam in with it. Just for mixing the slurry, I use a beater mixer that looks like this, and I got it at Home Depot, and it works just fine. Adding the foam to your slurry. This is great, especially if you're wanting to spray some engine degreaser or something on your car. But I just found that for more controlled and a measured thing, I came up with the wand accessory. And for me, I just like it. It works a little bit better. And I don't think you lose as many bubbles like you do when it's coming out at a high velocity. It's just more of a measured thing, and you can fill it right up to the line, right where you want to be at. Okay, while this did work and it really looks cool, it eventually broke because of the vibration and stuff. And what I found, guys, I completely abandoned it because it works 3 times as fast if you just use the auger by itself. I was so glad that sleeve broke on that auger. I thought it was a good idea. I was going to try it. But afterward, as fast as Melanie could put the foam in, this thing could fold it right in. It just works so good. So yes, on the auger, but as far as using the 2-stroke motor and the actual whole shebang, I would just go ahead and get an electric one. I've since abandoned that. I actually welded a drill end on the auger and I just used a heavy-duty industrial drill. In the video, there was a method to my madness. Once I got the panel poured, I tried to stomp along the side of it just to make sure that no air bubbles got caught up in it. I recommend you actually get an electric massager and just vibrate the side of the panel. That actually works good. Okay, thumbs down on this, guys. It did not work. Don't cover the panels while they're still wet, because what happens is the skin actually cures and sticks to the top layer of visqueen, and when you go to peel it off, what happens is it actually comes off with the visqueen. Instead of doing this, just go ahead and let it sit out in the open air for 18 to 24 hours and then put a layer of visqueen over it and let it cure out for several days. And that holds the moisture in and helps it cure super duper hard. Check out our Etsy store. That's where you can learn everything you need to know about building a foam mate for yourself so you can do these projects, or I'll build one for you and send it out to you. Thanks, guys. Hey guys, here I am putting the scratch coat on. But before you do that, you're going to want to do some prep work. I am a big fan of engineering, and right here I am putting hurricane strap. I am anchoring them directly to the reinforced concrete slab that this building sits on. I am installing the anchors in an X configuration on all the corners of the building, as well as every third panel throughout the field gets a X configuration as well. And everywhere one of the straps crosses the sheet metal stud configuration, it gets fastened into the stud as well. Okay, here I'm wetting down the wall in preparation for the first layer, or the base coat of stucco, the scratch coat. And you can clearly see the X configurations of the reinforcement on the walls. And that panel to my right is a really good illustration of one of those panels that the skin was pulled off of. Once it's covered with a stucco, you won't be able to see it, and it looks really good. But regardless, it's nice to have a skin on them. So guys, this is my very first stucco project, and we really had no idea what we were doing, but our boys and I had a ton of fun. Regardless though, I was able to put some on and get it smooth, and it ended up looking really good. The whole family ended up having a ton of fun, and in the end, it ended up looking pretty good. Now, every time I do a project, I learn a ton about efficiency and better ways to do it. Even though I put the mud on one trowel at a time for the base coat, here's a little bit of a sneak peek of when we were putting the fiberglass mesh on the outside with the final stucco coat. And I found that there are better ways to put this stucco on, and it is using a spraying apparatus. If you like what we're doing here, be sure and like, subscribe, click the bell at the bottom to get notifications, and go to my Etsy store and check out our foam mates. I'd love to send you one.